What's up, you guys? Dr. Dive Watch here again today. Thanks for tuning in. Today's video, I'm going to be transferring between two bracelets on two different Skydwellers so that we can make this one with the white dial compatible with the rubber B strap that I'm going to show you guys today. I love rubber B, they're great products, and this can help you guys if you're interested in a rubber B strap for your watch. You can find out what's compatible, what's not, and which of the buckle options you might want for your Rolex if you put a strap on it. So today I have the white dial Rolex Skydweller, model number 326933, which references the two-tone version of this watch. And what we want to do is put the rubber B strap that I have here on this watch. The unfortunate thing for my client of this piece is that you cannot add a rubber B strap to a Skydweller that has a Jubilee bracelet if you want to use the original OEM Rolex buckle. Thankfully, I picked up this one here. This is also 326933 two-tone Rolex Skydweller, but this one comes on Oyster bracelet. So let me show you guys the rubber B strap that is super unique that I'm really excited to attach to this Rolex Skydweller in white dial. This is a model that they call in color Red Devil. And if you say to yourself, well, I don't really want my watch to look so dressy as it does with the Jubilee bracelet, that's why you get these, baby. I love these guys. You have to have both. And you can give your watch multiple looks that way just by having the two options. And if you want, you can get a kit and you can have it swapped out at home. You do it yourself, just learn how. Or you come by any authorized rubber B dealer and they should be able to do it for you, no problem whatsoever. And I really love that because it kind of adds some character to the color that you're already enjoying when you look at the strap. But these are really fantastic products. For those of you that have seen rubber straps before, but maybe not from Rubber B, there are a couple of things that I believe make Rubber B best in the market in terms of a rubber strap for a luxury watch. So I'll go over those with you guys really quickly. If you look closely, you can see that both elements of the strap here have two different colors. You have the white, which is going to be the surface that shows when the watch is being worn on the wearer's wrist. And then you have the underside, which is an all red, which looks really nice, but most of the time this will not be visible unless the watch is off. A lot of different companies that make rubber straps like this, what they'll do is they'll make one piece and then they'll try to color one of the opposite colors with some sort of dye or paint or coating. Rubber B does not do that. All of Rubber B's straps are made with vulcanized rubber, which basically means that even at the molecular level, that color is built into the rubber. And so the way that this is made is actually with two separate pieces that are then joined together under heat. So none of this color will ever fade or scratch off or tarnish or any of that stuff. Now, white as a color is a little bit easier to get dirty than other colors, obviously, but Rubber B also makes erasers for their straps, which are awesome because you can just take them just like you would an eraser on a piece of paper and you can get rid of any discoloration or stain that you can see on any of the straps, which is awesome. So that vulcanized rubber is actually also going to protect the color of the strap from UV radiation, which means if you take this out in the sun on a regular basis, which I'm hoping that all of you guys will, it will prevent the discoloration over time. And there have been a couple of attempts to try and replicate that same feature, but without success. Unless the rubber is vulcanized, you're not going to have that same UV protection. And so straps over time that are not made by Rubber B will discolor more quickly than these ones will. The other really nice thing that I like, at the lug end of the strap, this insert where a pin would normally live, all of Rubber B straps have like a titanium tube that the pin will slide into, and that prevents things from happening like if you've seen a less expensive strap, you can see sometimes over time when the strap pulls against the lugs, those pins will tear through the rubber over time or create small cuts. And that's what eventually leads to the strap falling straight off the watch, and then you're losing your piece, which you definitely don't want to happen, especially not underwater, where you probably won't be able to go down and find it. So yeah, these are really incredibly made, and I honestly would not trust my watch diving underwater with any other strap besides Rubber B's. So as you can see here with this Red Devil strap for the Rolex Skydweller 42mm, it has a couple of different obvious differences between this and what you might see a traditional strap or any other strap on the market offer. This one has no tang. And if you're not sure what a tang is, it's basically a belt buckle, or on something like a watch roll, you might see it like this. This is a tang buckle. You may have one on a strap that you have for a different watch, but Rolex will always have a factory buckle like this that Rubber Bee's straps like this Red Devil here will be compatible with, but Rubber Bee also does make straps like this with a tang buckle. So depending on the model that it is you're looking for, you may be able to find a color like this for your watch that has either a tang buckle or one that's compatible like this one is for your original Rolex buckle, so that you can keep the crown on your watch and people will know that it's a factory Rolex. All right, so let's put this guy aside for right now and let's do the work on the bracelets that we came here to do. So first, I'll bring this guy back into the fold and we'll go ahead and remove it from the box here. If you're not comfortable doing this type of work at home, don't bother with it. The last thing we want is for you to scratch or ruin your watch because you didn't want to bring it in to have somebody help you. You're not going to be inconveniencing anyone by asking someone to help you do this. Especially me, I'm happy to do it for you. I love seeing my clients. I love when you guys come in. So don't worry about that. I'll take care of you here. And I'm never going to charge you for a service like this, just swapping the bracelet for the strap or vice versa. So don't worry. So when you're working on transferring a bracelet from your Rolex watch, you want to be very careful not to scratch it, especially if you're using a plain screwdriver like this one. So what you want to do is take that screwdriver, wedge it in between the pin and the lug with just even amount of pressure, and use your opposite finger to apply pressure forward so that the lug pin doesn't want to stay hold in there. Because if it does, then you're never going to fight it out. And you really should never be fighting any of these things to work. Rolex's construction is very strong, so everything should be relatively easy. And if you feel like you're fighting against it, you may be doing something wrong. So just be careful not to scratch anything, and it should come right out. So now the pin is getting, I'm leaving the pressure from the front just enough that the pin is sliding back into the hole. But when the pressure is even, it should come apart relatively easily. So once you take out one end, it is a lot simpler to put in the other end. And there we are. So we freed the first watch from its bracelet, and now this bracelet is going to go on the champagne dial. And the white dial is going to be the one that we're going to attach the Rubber Bee strap to. So I'll leave this watch over here, and I'm going to do the exact same thing with the same tool to this watch here. And again, we're going to accomplish everything without adding any scratches by just being very careful and applying even pressure to both sides at the same time. All right, so that's one side finished here. And now always a lot easier to hold the watch when one side of the bracelet is already out. So this side should be even quicker. That simple. So we freed both watches from their bracelets. Now let's install the Jubilee back onto the champagne dial. And if you ever get confused because you took your bracelet off and you don't know which orientation it is, I'll give you a quick tip. The Rolex crown on the dial always needs to line up evenly with the Rolex crown on the buckle. So you know that this bracelet needs to be in this orientation when you reattach it. So that means this end will attach to the 6 o'clock lug. Now this is the part where a lot of people end up scratching their watch because the pin itself, if you can see that, will be pretty close to the steel on the back of the lug. Now, a lot of people don't care because they say, hey, it's the back of the lug anyway. No one's gonna look at this but me. But to those people, and I know that some of you are my clients that are like this, any little flaw, doesn't matter if you see it or not. If you know it's there, it's bothering you. So just be careful. Don't let the pin scrape against the back of the lug when you do this. Lift it a little bit with the same backside finger pressure that I was just telling you guys about, and then just push that pin right into place. So you'll hear that nice satisfying click, and that'll tell you that both sides of the pin are inside the holes on the inner ends of the lug, and that is going to make sure that the bracelet never slips out. Always, if you're not sure if you got it in properly, make sure that you pull that bracelet away from the lug, and if it snaps out, it's better that it does it while it's in your hands than when you're underwater. Almost there. If you're ever struggling with working with the watch while the bracelet is on, always make sure that the clasp is unbuckled, because sometimes that extra length that the bracelet will give you is going to make your hand a little bit easier to work with It'll give your hand more space to work with. And again, if you guys are not comfortable doing this type of work, it's okay. Just go to your nearest authorized dealer, even any jeweler that has the correct tool. If you know who they are and you trust them, they should be able to do this without scratching your watch if they know what's good for them. Perfect. So now this watch is going to be ready for the client that I got this one from, and let's leave that away there. Now, it's time to show you how this bracelet becomes compatible with the rubber B strap. So once we take this buckle here and we add it onto the strap, we will install the strap onto the white dial Skydweller. So underneath the buckle, if you take a look here, you're gonna see that this end of the bracelet, this is the 6 o'clock end, has a pin that goes into the sides of the buckle wall. That's the piece that we're going to remove first on this end. This is the end with the easy link adjustment. And we will use the same strategy here with a little bit of pressure on both sides of the pin, and it will go free. There are a couple of adjustment holes there, so if you let it slip a little too far, it will find another home. So just be careful. You can push it with your finger and it will free that way. And now we have this pin separately with the bracelet here. And this pin is going to be the one that goes in the 6 o'clock side of the rubber B bracelet as well, on that end. And then on this side, we actually need to unscrew this pin. So let's do that quickly. With the same screwdriver you can do this, just be very careful not to strip the screw. I like to do all of this very nice and very slow so that we don't ruin the screws, accidentally slide the screwdriver and then scratch the watch. And a lot of people even prefer to use rubber tip tweezers so that they don't add any possibility of scratching. Whatever works for you. All right, so now if we take a look here, our buckle is completely freed and it is ready to be installed on the rubber B strap. Always nice to be able to keep a watch with the original Rolex buckle, even though it has a rubber B strap on it, because people will still look at it and see it and know that it's original to the watch. If you're unsure of which side to attach the rubber B strap to, again, always make sure that your buckle is facing outwards and the color of the strap that you want showing outwards is facing outwards. But then when you undo the deployment, you'll see that this end fits perfectly like a puzzle piece right in there. And so that's where the screw that we just undid is going to put right back in. So let's do that. We could use our tweezer to drop the screw back in, or we can just use our hand. Fits in perfectly just like that. I'm just gonna screw it down. Nice and slow so I don't slip my screwdriver and I don't strip the screw. Perfect. Nice and tight. Don't go too tight. That's how you end up ruining the head of the screw. No need for that. And here we're already starting to see how cool this is gonna look once everything is done. Now on this end, we had this specialized shorter pin. And of course, you're gonna see the grooves as well here. Now, those grooves are meant to be cut if necessary. So if you have a shorter wrist, a smaller wrist, you need this side of your strap to be shorter, you can actually cut these. I always recommend, if you're gonna do this at home, make sure you go piece by piece. Because if you say to yourself, oh, I can probably take off 4 pieces and that's gonna be enough, and then you assemble it, put it on your wrist, and it's too tight, you can't grow this. You're gonna have to buy another one. So DM me, because you made a mistake. No, I'm just kidding. Just focus on doing it safely and gradually. That way you don't have to go through that mishap. So let's go ahead and assume that I'm gonna have it on the farthest length, and I'm just going to install it like this. And then again here, you actually do have different lengths that you can adjust to. So let's go ahead and do it on the closest. And if you know what you're doing, you don't even need a screwdriver for this part. You just push the pin in, and you could do it with your fingernail or with a razor blade if you have one, and slide it until you feel that pin find the hole that it's looking for inside the buckle. And if you don't find it, you may have to press it down a little bit. You could use a screwdriver for that, but you want to make sure that you feel or hear that pin slide into the hole so that you know that it was done and that it reached its destination safely, because this also could put your watch at risk if you're underwater and it happens to come loose. So I heard that little snap. I know that means the pin, the spring bar, ended up where it's supposed to be, and I can go ahead and play with it a little bit there, and it is not coming loose at all. So now we have our deployment. It is in. It looks awesome with this color already, and we're gonna go ahead and install it on the watch with the white dial so that it matches the color. So same idea. We use the same factory pins that Rolex gave us with the bracelet, and we're gonna install them in here. And remember, you have that core there that's gonna keep those pins from ever ripping through the rubber, which is really nice. Again, remember what I told you about giving yourself a little extra length. So we can go ahead and undo the deployment here so that it makes it a little easier to work with. And remember what I said as well about aligning the crown. So this end is gonna go on this side, the 6 o'clock side of the watch. Same idea as before. Try not to let the back of the pin rest on the lugs. There it goes. So I had to force the pin to go in there a little bit. I just wanted to make sure it was nice and secure. And now we have our 6 o'clock side installed. So we just flip it back over. Our pin is already waiting for us on the opposite lug. Or God forbid you drop it and you have a tile floor like this one, then you're coming to see me for repairs, and nobody wants that bill. Okay, so same deal here. I got one side in very easily. I just want to go ahead and make sure that this pin is going to be forced into the hole in the case side of the lug so that it does not ever come loose, especially not while we're underwater. And it's looking good. I just want to be very sure there. And there it goes. Awesome. That's not going anywhere. Nice and safe. And man, look at that color. I love that. From the front, you get a little bit of the red accent on the sides. And if you couldn't tell, you have the white dial here, and you have two red accents on the factory white dial. They call this the intense white dial for the Rolex Skydweller. You've got that month indicator, which is gonna be in the red aperture. I think I have this one already correctly set to June. You also have the indicator above the Saros wheel that will show in a nice bright red. So those two tiny little details are gonna match the accent red on the side of the strap here. So it really looks fantastic together, and obviously the white complementing the white. This is a really great pick. I love the red devil strap from Rubber Bee, and I love it especially on the 42mm case of the Skydweller here. So now you have a very active, very everyday, very striking watch that is complementing the colors of the dial with the colors of the rubber strap. And anybody that sees this on your wrist when you're walking around, they might not even recognize that it's a Skydweller. They're gonna say, man, what a color combination. What kind of watch is that? And then when they see the Skydweller, they're gonna say, oh wow, that's a Rolex? That's a real Rolex? I didn't know they make straps like that. And you're gonna tell them, actually Rubber Bee makes that strap, and Dr. Dive Watch is the one that turned me on to them. They're awesome, and I always take this in the pool with me, underwater, and it has no problems whatsoever. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'm really, really excited about this piece. I can't wait to take it underwater and dive with it. It fits great, it looks great. I've never been happier with the way a Rubber Bee strap finishes on a specific watch. But yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions or if you want to see other videos like this, let me know. And thanks again for tuning in. Dr. Dive Watch out.